Today I'm going to replace a power steering pump on a 2003 GMC Envoy. The same steps apply to the years from 2002 all the way to 2009, and they also apply to a Chevy Trailblazer in those same years from 2002 all the way through 2009. Okay, let me go ahead and show you the steps. Okay, now the first thing you want to do since you're messing with some wires is disconnect the negative battery, and then all I did was take the cap off of the power steering reservoir and I put in this little pump line. So I'm about to pump the fluid out of the reservoir into this container. Okay, I just drained out all the power steering fluid, so now I'm moving on to the next step, which is remove the upper radiator hose. Okay, as you're taking off the upper radiator hose, obviously you want to make sure that this isn't hot when you go to do it. Loosen the clamp, break the seal. I have a bucket under here to catch the runoff. Okay, to release the tension on the Serpentine belt, I'm using my breaker bar in the tensioner. I'll go ahead and push it down, and then all the tension off the belt is released, so I'll go ahead and take the belt on off. Okay, since I have the Serpentine belt off, I'm gonna go ahead and just completely take the power steering pump out with the pulley attached. The bolts are 13 millimeter. I can simply turn the pulley, line up the bolts, line up the holes, as you can see, and then I'll go ahead and just take it off. Okay, now that I took the bolts out of the power steering pump, I'm going to take the air housing unit completely out of the way. Take this little bracket off right here, take the top off, and then there's a few bolts, a few little screws and bolts to go ahead and remove the bottom. Actually, when you take the air housing off the air filter itself sits in the windshield wiper reservoir. You have a bolt right here, and you have another bolt. It's I don't know how good you can see this, but it's just down here. And you have the two clips that you need to disconnect, these two clips, and then your two lines. I just disconnected them up right here, because if you disconnect them down here at the bottom on these two clips, the water leaks out. Then you can just go ahead and take the whole unit on out. So now this is what it looks like with no unit in there, and as you can see, I have complete access to the entire pump. Disconnect this little clip right here, and then I just have access to the bottom. And okay, now that I have the power steering pump out, it's easier for me to explain this. This little clamp holds this hose to the bottom of the reservoir. Simply squeeze that, slide it off. Then here's your return line, and this is a 5/8. I use the 5/8 wrench to loosen this, and then you just simply slide this on. After you take your power steering pump off, you want to make sure you get all the old power steering fluid out of the line. I just took a infused water bottle, hooked it up to the hose that connects to the bottom of the reservoir. I took my air compressor right here, hooked it up to a spray nozzle, put the spray nozzle right here and blew it, and see how much came out. And look how much additional fluid came out. Alright, here's the power steering pump. As I turn this pulley, I can feel the gears slipping up in here. I can really feel it slipping. So it clearly was the power steering pump. But here's the new one. Let me show you what it looks like on the car. Okay, right here is the hose that connected to the bottom of the reservoir, and this line connects to the bottom of the power steering pump right here. The reservoir slides in here. This connects to the bottom of the reservoir, and 3 holes line up with the 3 bolts. The pulley goes. Okay, these little clips right here. You simply lift up this little tab. Lift up that little tab. I used a flathead screwdriver. Lifted it up and use my pliers, and you just slide them on off. It works the same way on both sides. You just slide it on off. Then once you slide it off, this comes on out. The reservoir slides right on out. There's this little tube. So make sure your new one has that little tube. That tube goes up in there. So okay, here's the new one. They look identical. So all I have to do is get the pulley out and then do everything I did in reverse. And then I'll be good. Okay, now it's time to take the pulley off of the pump. So what you want to do is you need a pulley kit, a pulley puller kit. Actually, you need this to install it as well. So you're going to find the nut and bolt that fits yours. You get these little clamps right here, and they slide around and they grip the pulley right there. So that grips the pulley, and then you put this inside this coupling right here. And as it's pulling, as you tighten this down, it pushes against the spline right there, and then it pulls off the pulley. This is what it looks like when it's together. It'll look like that, and you put this little coupling on just to keep it all safe. So as you tighten it down, you go ahead and pulls it all off. Let me show you what it looks like in a second. Okay, this is what it looks like attached to the pulley. So all you do is you get a wrench here and a wrench here, you tighten it down, it pulls the pulley off. The only reason I took it out of the car was just to show you, but you can take the pulley off in the car. Matter of fact, I might connect it just to give me so I can have some leverage so that the pulley doesn't move in my hand. But that's how you go ahead and take the pulley off. Okay, after you have your pulley puller installed, you want to, I'm just using a crescent wrench to hold this nut. I have a 17mm on this one. As I tighten, I'm tightening that big nut, and as you can see, it's starting to get shiny part, so you know that it's sliding on off. Now let me go ahead and keep doing it and take it on off. Okay, there you go. That's just how easy it is to take a pulley off. And in order to put it back on, I'll show you that in a minute. This is how you install your pulley onto your water pump. I'm just going to install it on the old one just for illustration purposes, because I'm actually going to put the new one on the car. It's just easier to put the pulley on in the car, but it's easier to show you outside. So you take your pulley and you just line it up onto the spindle. Onto the spline. So you line it up. Then you get this tool in your pulley kit. Make sure you screw that out far enough, and you put that in the hole right there. You go ahead and screw it on down till it's in there nice and snug and tight. And you take this part and you put a wrench on here. And as you turn this, it'll push the pulley all the way down the spline until it's perfectly tight. So you simply just get your wrench, and as you tighten, it'll push the pulley down the spline. And you also want to hold this nut with a wrench. Turn this, push it all the way down, and that's how you attach your pulley back to your power steering pump. Okay, here's the new power steering pump. There's a washer that goes in on this little stem. There's a washer that should come with your new power steering pump. Make sure you put that washer in there. And then you have one more washer that needs to go right here on your return line. So make sure you put those two washers on. If you don't put that washer on, it will leak. Okay, now that I have the power steering pump connected back to the engine, then I have the pulley. I have the serpentine belt on the pulley. Everything is hooked up, the hoses, the clamps, everything. I purposely left off the windshield wiper reservoir and the air housing so that I'm going to fill it up with power steering fluid, turn the engine on, let the power steering pump get fluid throughout the whole system, then add until it's full and constantly turning the wheel just to make sure that it fills up. Plus, I left everything off so I could check to see if there's any leaks. Okay, well, like usual, I appreciate you guys watching. If you have any questions, feel free to hit me up and I will answer them.